Good morning, all of you. So today I'm here in front of you to continue with the next chapter of your software engineering. And today the lecture number is fifth of this session. So in the previous lecture, what we have covered, it was function oriented design, function oriented software design. And today's topic is the second portion of the designing is second approach of designing, that is object oriented design. So it is OOD, sometimes also it is known as OOAD, that is object oriented analysis and design. So either you can write. What we will cover in this topic today, that what is the concept of object orientation design, where the designing is basically done on the basis of the object. The second thing what we will do is UML diagrams. Very important. These are the diagrams which help us in designing the or making the model of your software system. Whatever the system is under study, we make a model using different types of UML diagram. In the lecture, I will tell you what are the different types of UML diagram, because your system have different types of views. So on the basis of those views, to capture all the views of your system, we have different UML diagrams. There is a list of different UML diagrams, and what are the diagrams in your syllabus, we will cover those diagrams. So this is the main content of today's lecture, that is object oriented design. What is the concept of object oriented design, and then is UML. In the previous lecture, same designing was done, but it was oriented on function oriented, where we have to take into account the different functions which combine to form your any software system. But same designing will be there, but the pivot point will be the object. Object will be the pivot point in this chapter. So throughout the concept or the lecture, I will be having five polls on this topic today. So be attentive during the polls, and all must attempt the poll. I have seen a few students, 4 or 5 students, did not attend the poll. And one thing more, now I am going to enable the waiting room. Now I will not allow any more student to enter the class, because it is already 10:04. So I have been allowing the student to enter the class 10 minutes late, but now it is not so. So I will enable the waiting room. And to start with, as I have messaged in your WhatsApp group, that last time I only asked the question on the function oriented design, as there was some technical problem, Paul was not there. But today, first of all, in the beginning, I will have a poll of function oriented design. So there are 4 polls of function oriented design topic. First of all, I will launch the poll on function oriented design. Then I will start the today's topic. And in between, I will be asking you the questions. So be attentive throughout the lecture. Anybody could be asked to answer the question about what the lecture up till now, what we have covered. So be attentive throughout the class. You have been very good in the previous lecture, and I expect the same thing from you in the today's lecture also. So in the starting, I am going to launch the poll of the previous lecture. I have also mentioned this in a WhatsApp group in the morning itself. And one thing more, all the lectures, you can say notes of the lecture, in the PDF notes of the lecture, and what is the PPT of today, it has been already uploaded on your ERP portal. So you can download from that there. So I just launch the poll of function oriented design. So you must go through that poll first of all. So this is the first question of the poll of the previous lecture. Go through this. And there are two questions on this poll. Give your answer. So start polling. All of you start polling. So maximum 40 seconds, 50 seconds per question I will give you. Half the time of the poll is over and only half the students have given answer till now. So still 10 students are left. Just give your poll. 10 students. One student is still left. Please give your response. So here I end the first poll. Just see the result of your poll now. So it is good result, 92% in first question and 98%. So most of you have given the right answer. Now I go to the second poll of this topic itself. Go to the second poll. It also has the two questions. Give the answers of these two questions. The poll has been launched. You must go through start. So student, just poll, only 20 students have polled up till now. Be fast. All of you, be fast. What give the result? Very good. 10 students are left now. Ritik, you have joined 10 minutes late today. Yes, I'm going to end the poll now. So see the result of the poll. So first question, all have given the right answer. And second question, 82% have given you the right answer. The answer was false. because DFD is made during the structure analysis, not the design. Now the third pole, again there are two questions in the third pole. Go for this pole. You all should go for a pole. Yes. Only 14 students have given their response. Be fast. I'm going to end the poll now. Yes, be fast. 30 students have given the response till now. Two students have not given their response. One student is left now. So see the result. And most of you have given the right answer here. Contest level level diagram is another name of level 1 DFD. No, it is the another name for level 0 DFD. And which is not the symbol of DFD. Decision box is not the symbol of DFD. Function, data store, and external entity are the symbols of DFD. So the last pole of this chapter, only single question is there. So be fast. I will only give half the time here now. The question is, module structure is also known as software architecture. So be fast. 4 have given the response. Be fast, all of you. This poll will only for a 40 seconds, 45 seconds. So give your response. Be fast. Only 20 students have given the response out of 51. Now it's 30. So last 10 seconds. Give your response. Be fast. Two students are left now. Two students are left. One is left. So this chapter today. So today's chapter is object oriented design, and what important thing is there, we start with the concept of classes and objects. As it is the object oriented design, it deals with the concept of classes and objects that we have already done in your OOPS. So most of the concepts are same. All the concepts of OOPS are applied here in software engineering also. The concepts, basic concepts are the same. You know the concept of class. So what is class? Class is an entity. So it is a type of entity which have its own existence. And how it has got its existence? It has got its existence due to its characteristics. So how the characteristics of a class are defined? The characteristics of the behavior of the class are defined through the data of the members of that particular class, and behavior is defined by the functions or the methods. So what are the different procedure, what are the operations that particular object of that particular class implements or does. So Navreen, you have to wait, now you are again late today, so 15 minutes already there. So classes and objects. So we have to see all this thing into concept of what was the class and what is the object. So all the characteristics of a class is defined through the data members of the class. And all the behavior of the objects of the class is defined through the functions or methods. Whatever the different operations that an object can perform are defined through the methods or functions. So operations, methods, function is the same name, whatever the name you want to give, but in the class you have to give it as a method or a function. Oops, you were giving it as a function. Here in your book, it is defined as the methods. So what does a class comprise of? So class comprise of class name, then data members, and the methods or functions. Methods or functions. Now, what is an object? Object is an instance of class. What is object? Object is an instance of class. Is actually a logical name given to the group of objects of the same type. It is a logical name given to the group of objects of the same type. And the original occurrence of a class is an object. That is instance of a class. Objects are the instances of a class. So object, any object, it becomes the member or instance of a class if it has got the properties as defined in a class. When we define the class, when we declare the class, we declare or define what are the different characteristics of the class object through its data members and what different functions it can perform through methods or functions. So any object which has these characteristics of data and function, it will become the instance of that particular class. So this is the concept that you already know about the class. It is the classes and object. Along with this, there are many concepts of classes and object. You know all the concepts, but I will repeat again. So what are the different concepts of class and object? One was class itself. Another was object. Now inheritance. Inheritance. So inheritance is the property of defining a new class on the basis of already present class. So you make a new class. The new class is known as the derived class. And the class which is already present, it is known as the base class. So derived class inherits the properties of the base class. So it is the property. So you have done many types of inheritance. It is a single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hybrid, hierarchical. So these are different types of inheritance that you have already covered in your books. So inheritance is one of the topic or the concept of the class. Then there is a concept of abstraction. What does abstraction means? Abstraction means it is the property or the concept in which, because there is a system and we want that some of the parts or the components of the system should only be visible to the user. Rest should not be visible to the user. We have to only take into account because there are different types of users of one system. So one type of user need the whole, you can say access to all the parts, all the components of the system, but all users do not use. The simple users or the naive users, they only know that there is a system, so they must not be given the access to the all the things. Only what has to be shown to them, that must be shown. Other things should be hidden from that particular user. Suppose the ATM machine is there, so it is a type of system. So here we only have to do the transaction with the ATM machine, that what money we want, or any you want to see the what was the, you can say, mini statement, and what is the withdrawal and what is the balance. Rest what is going behind the system, it should not be shown to the user. So therefore abstraction is a concept which help us to make this thing possible. So what has to be shown to the user and what should not be shown to the user, this is implemented with the help of abstraction. And in OOPS, this abstraction was done with the help of, and what user can access or not cannot access, it was also done with the help of access specifiers like private, public, and protected. So some students are joining late, so it is not good that it is already 20 minutes. So some are joining after 15 minutes and 20 minutes. So it is the last time today I am allowing. I am allowing Navjot and Navring. Rest have joined very late. So other have to wait. And I have already told you, I will see the duration of the time you were present in a class. If you join late, but the duration is not 75% of duration, again, there is no fun of joining the class. If you really want to join the class, you should be present before 10. As I start the class before 5 minutes before the class, and you are joining very late, and you are disturbing because the screen is there. Please admit me, and some are messaging in a WhatsApp group. It is not good. So you are disturbing a teacher for having a class. So today is the last chance that I give you the permission. So after this, nobody will be allowed. So those who have joined late, Vishal Platia, Sat Kuwar, so all those who have joined late, it is the last time that I have admitted you. Next time, I will not admit any student who comes late in a class or joins late in a class. So I do not want any excuse. So please lower down your hand, whatever may be the reason. So you can talk me afterwards. The next concept is abstraction. So abstraction is there. Encapsulation. So encapsulation is a class, is a type of concept where both the things, it is a type of umbrella concept. Under one umbrella, you combine the two things. One is the characteristics of the and behavior of the class. That I have already done. That you encapsulate the data and the methods or functions of a class under one umbrella. That is the name of the class. That is known as the encapsulation. Also known like this also. There is the data of a class. There are methods. Any object, and they access the data of the class these methods. So this is the concept of encapsulation. This is the concept of encapsulation. I will again say there was a concept of class, then is the object, then is the inheritance. Inheritance is a type of relationship. It is a type of relationship between two classes. Here, one class is the base class and another class is the derived class. So derived class inherits the properties of the base class. Then there is the abstraction, what has to be shown and what not to be shown, because every component of a system should not be visible to the user. So that thing, something should be hidden and something should be displayed to the user. That is covered under the abstraction, and encapsulation is this thing which I already told you, that bringing down together the data and the member of a one class under one heading, that is the one umbrella, that is the name of the class, and objects are the instance of class which can use the data of the class through its methods or functions. So whatever the operations have to be done, operation is also known as function or methods. So clear? So this was the basic concept. Now there are not only one type of relationship, there are different types of relationship within a class. So let us see what are the different types of relationship. So relationship means how the one class is associated with the another class. So I will use the word how the one class is related with the another class. So relationships. In a relationship, first we have already done, that was the inheritance. Second is known as association. Third is aggregation or composition. Fourth is dependency. So fourth is dependency. So what is different types of relationships are? First is the inheritance, that we have already covered. Inheritance, it is a property where a new class is derived from already existing class, which is known as the base class. The derived class inherits the properties from its base class. There are different types of inheritance. Single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level, then hierarchical, hybrid. So single inheritance is a type of inheritance where there is only one base class. A new class is derived from a single base class. Multiple inheritance, where a derived class is a derived, one new class is derived from two base classes, minimum two. Minimum two. It can be more than two. So the, you can say here the relation is like this. In multiple, this type of diagram you can say. Then is the multi-level inheritance. There is a series of base and drive. This is the multi-level. The uppermost is only base, the lowermost is only drive, and in between they are base as well as drive. It is drive of its upper and base of its lower. So hierarchical, it can be also be hierarchical, or any tree type structure is known as hierarchical, and hybrid which consists of all the types of inheritance. Then is association, very important. This is representation. Association means how one class is associated with the another. Suppose what the different functions of a class, what the rule, how they are associated. Like there is a book and one, there is a library member. So these two are associated with each other. How they are associated? Because library member can access the book, can borrow the book or get issued the book. So this borrowed or borrow or issue book. So this is the relationship between these two. So through this method or through this function, The book is associated with the member, that is the library member. So it is the object of a class. Book is also an object of a class book. So how these two different classes, instance of two different classes are associated. Now this association can be of different type. It can be one-to-one association, one to many, and many to many. One-to-one means one instance of this class is always associated with one instance of this class. One to many means one instance of this class with many instances of this class. Many to many means many instances of this class with many instances of this class. And there are different types of notations for one and many. So arrow is also represented, means it shows the relation in terms of what thing, and one and a star is written sometime, then one or m is written, which shows that the relation is one to one or one to many. So this is all about, and this will also study in a database also, database management system. So here it is also marked how they are related. When that one library member can borrow many books. One library member can borrow many books. So it is a one to many relation. So it can be a unary relation, it can be a binary relation. Now it is a unary relation. Two classes, two instances of different classes are related. If three instances of different classes are related with each other, then it is known as three array. That is ternary relationship. So the relationship can be n-ary. N-ary means if the two classes are there, then the binary relationship. Three are there, then the ternary relationship. Four are there, then the quaternary relationship. So it is depend upon what is n. A class can also be associated with itself also. That is unary relationship. So here, this relationship is known as the association. Then there is another relationship between the different instances of class, which is known as aggregation and the composition. Just listen what is aggregation and the composition. I will show you with the example. Aggregation or the, so it exhibits a new type of relationship between the two classes or the objects or instances of two classes. And that relationship is also known as containership. So aggregation or the composition is also known as, they exhibit containership, where one instance of one class is included totally in another class. It is not an inheritance. Inheritance is the two classes are outwardly directed and it inherits the property. But what happens in aggregation? There is instance of one class and there is instance of another class which is present contained in another class. So it is object one of any class 1 and this is object 1 of any class 2. So this object and this object is different. I will also write object 2 over here. So we should not. So this object is instance of class 2 which is present inside the class 1. So you can see this is containership or the aggregation. Like example, we have one class line, a sentence, line or sentence. Then we have one class paragraph. Then we have one sentence of one instance book, or you can have a chapter. So this is one class, this is another class, this is, so any instance, any line can be contained, any lines are contained in paragraphs, paragraphs are contained in book, or you can have one more here chapter in between. So paragraphs is in a chapter and chapters are in a book. So this type of relationship between the objects of the different classes, this is known as aggregation, composition, or a containership. Containership. So here just have the, and it is represented with the diamond box. Line is contained in a paragraph. Paragraph is contained in a book, and it is shown with the help of diamond box. Still, there many lines are contained in one paragraph. Many paragraphs are contained in one book. So this is star symbol here to show the many. So many lines are contained in one paragraph. So one has been written here. And this diamond box show that containership. And many paragraphs can be contained in one book. In between you can have a chapter also. It is up to you. So this is the another type of relationship, that is the aggregation. So we have done the first type of relationship as an inheritance, relationship between the two classes or the instance of two classes. Second was the association. Third is the aggregation. And the fourth one is dependency. So here, how one is dependent upon another. How one class is dependent upon the another class, that is shown in a dependency. So here one is the, you can also show it with the help of dash. So one class is independent class or the another class is dependent class. I will just make it like this. So just see, I will tell you, suppose humans are divided into further two class. One is the minor class where the children are there, and one is the major class. So dependent class is, independent class are the major or the adults. Dependent class is the minors, the small kids. Now the small kids are dependent, independent class, yes. So major is the independent, minor is the dependent. So minor are dependent upon majors or the adults. So there the instance of minors is dependent upon instances of the major. Means children are dependent upon their parents. Small children, I am saying, not the adult children. So this type of dependency. So there is one class of major and another class is of minor. So this type of relationship is known as the dependency relationship. So we have done the four types of relationship. One was inheritance, second is association, third is aggregation or composition, or it is also known as the containership, and third is the dependency relationship. The instance of one class is dependent upon the instances of another class. So this is what are the concepts of the class and objects we are doing. So we started with the class, we did what is object, that is instance of a class, what are different types of relationships, then the concept of encapsulation, the concept of abstraction, and what are different operations are known as, different operations are known as methods or functions. So this is all about the class and objects. Now I start with the, and one more concept was left. It is the concept of polymorphism. Polymorphism. Poly means many. Poly means many. Morph means forms. So if function, it is a concept in which a class having more than one functions, more than one function with the same name, with the same name, but they all perform different functions. So that is polymorphism, means having many forms. Either it can be a polymorphism of the functions or it can be the polymorphism of the operators, like plus. Plus, the main function of the plus is addition, but it can also be given some other functions like or. So at one moment it is doing the mathematical sum and another moment it is doing the logical operation of or. So it can be, polymorphism can be achieved to the functions and to the operators. So I will just show the example. the polymorphism. So in any class, there is a function with the name of area. Very common example. There are three functions with the same name, or two functions with the same name. So at particular moment, if any object dot area, we write object dot area. So an object of a class is calling the function of a class that is known as the area. Now the question arises, which function has been called, this one or this one? So polymorphism can be achieved in different ways. One is having the different number of arguments. Means two functions are there, but both these two functions are having the different arguments. Like suppose here one argument is length, another is breadth. Here a or side 1 s1 int, side 2 and side 3. So here if an object is calling a function area and it is sending only 2 and 5 and it is having different number of arguments. This area is having 2 arguments as it is finding the area of a rectangle, and this is having the 3 arguments as it is finding the area of a triangle according to the Heron's formula. So 2 parameters have been found. So obviously this has been called. Second way of achieving the polymorphism is having the different data types of the function. Suppose there are two areas. Now this is having also two parameters, length and breadth. This is also having the two parameters, length and breadth. But see, the data type is different. Here it is of integer type. Here it is of float type. So if we call with 2.0 and 3.0, then this will be called. And if we call the function with the and pass the parameters 2 and 3, then this will be called. So second way of achieving the polymorphism is having the different data types of your parameters. And third type is if the number of arguments are also same, data type is also same, then we can have a different sequence of the argument. Just see how can we achieve that also. So here it is int L and float B, another is float L and int B. Now see, both area have same number of arguments and data type is also same, int and float, so int and float. But here the sequence is different. So if I say object area 2.0 and 3, so first is float, second is integer. This will be called. If I write 2 and 3.5, then this will be called. So these are the methods of how one can achieve a polymorphism. How one can achieve a polymorphism in the concept of classes and object. Very important concept, that is of polymorphism, that you have already done in your course. This was just the revision what you have already done in your course. Now I will start with the second thing, new concept. What today's topic was, one was the concept of object oriented. Now I will start with the concept of UML. So let's have a poll first of all, what we have done up till now. So let's have a poll. Poll on class and object. So give the answer. Answer. Sorry. So are you getting my voice now? Students, are you getting my voice now? I have allowed to unmute.
सर अब आ रही है सर पहले आपने स्टार्ट किया था लेक्चर आपने स्टार्ट किया सर वो तभी से ऑफ हो गया माइक
Yes, Sonam, are you getting my voice?
सर नाउ वी आर गेटिंग
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
Is there any problem?
सर वो पिंदर को ऐड कर दो, वो गलती से लीव करके वो.
Mridul, can you tell me, are you getting voice now?
यस सर वो पिंदर को ऐड कर दो, वो गलती से ऐड लीव कर गया है.
बेटा वो मुझे मत बोलो. Are you getting the voice now already?
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
Yes, tell me.
सर एक्चुअली आई हैव अ डाउट
हाँ जी, पूछो.
सर इन द लास्ट
Poll you can, you want to have any concept, you want to listen any concept, you can say.
सर नो सर आई वांट टू डिस्कस अबाउट द लास्ट पोल
So you can discuss about the poll. Yes, be short, being short.
yes sir in last poll you said that in object what does the object calls and the object always calls a method which is defined in the class.
No, what are the operations? I said, what
Yes,
are the
sir.
operations?
So
Operations are supported through different functions or the methods.
So yes, so the object will always support the method only. The functions which are defined inside the class are called as method.
No, I am saying there are different name terminologies given to operations. One terminology is given as a function and another terminology is method. So function
Yes,
and
when we
method are
use
same.
yes, when we only use object in that particular question, it was written that we are using calling a function through object.
I was saying that main thing was given operation. You just see the poll again.
Yes, sir. I've
What are the operations? The word operations was given. What is the another name for the operations?
yes, but the only name with operation when we call it through object is method.
It is method, but in OOPS, in the beginning of the lecture, I told you in OOPS sometime. In OOPS, we say it is a function also. You have done object-oriented programming.
Yes, yes.
है ना C++ किया ना?
Yes.
तो वहाँ पे
yes.
we were using the word functions.
सर यस सर फंक्शंस उनको कहते हैं जो क्लास के बाहर डिफाइंड होते हैं, जो क्लास के अंदर उनको तो मेथड कहते हैं ना सर.
बेटा फंक्शंस भी बोल रहे जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना कौन सा फंक्शन है, डिस्प्ले फंक्शन है, ये है. तो इंटरचेंजेबली सम ऑथर्स गिव द नेम फंक्शंस इंटरचेंजेबली.
अच्छा सर.
ठीक है, तो यही मैंने
ठीक है
आपको
सर.
स्टार्ट में यही बोला था कि एक्चुअली इट इज नॉट डायग्राम आई हैव मेड. इन डायग्राम आई हैव रिटन द मेथड्स. यू माइट हैव सीन द डायग्राम.
जी सर.
जो मैं व्हाट डायग्राम आई हैव मेड, इट वाज रिटन अ मेथड, but I said you sometimes interchangeably it is also called function. Some
जी
authors say it is also known as function, but actually the name is method. I have given you in the diagram what diagram I have made. I have written the methods there. You might have seen I have written D1, D2 up till Dn, then M1, M2, M3 up till Mn.
Okay sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is inheritance, what we have already done. Madhu ma'am, please come to me. Then is the types of inheritance where the base class is there and the tri class are there. So I will be fast in this thing. These are another examples of inheritance and multiple inheritance which comprise of more than one base class. Association, this we have already done. This is the symbol used in association book and the library. This is the three array, means three classes. Instance of three classes are used in this type of relationship of association. Then aggregation, that is the composition of the container chip. So same example. Then the dependency, I have given you the example of major and minor here. Then the abstraction, where only the we consider some of the aspects, relevant aspects to be shown to the particular user, that for certain purpose. Rest of the components or the aspects which are not relevant to a particular user, they are not shown. So this concept is known as abstraction. So I will stop here for the 5 seconds. You read the first line again and again. So the abstraction can be of a data and abstraction can be of a behavior. Then the advantages of abstraction. So it reduces the design complexity, it enhances the understandability, it increases the productivity. So encapsulation that we have already done. This diagram I have drawn the student which had a query just now. So I will say, I guess you are right that we have to use the methods, but interchangeably sometimes we use methods are represented with the help of functions. So polymorphism, many forms. So here we come to the UML. UML is a modeling language. It is not a system design or developed methodology. So it is just to model out. It is independent of any specific design methodology. So why it is required? UML models are required. The model is an abstraction mechanism. We have to capture some important aspects of the concept and we ignore the rest. So that is the concept of the abstraction. So different models result when different aspects are ignored. As why I was saying that we have different views of a system. So in particular, according to the needs of a customer. So if we neglect some of the views, then it will result in different types of model. Suppose there are 5 views. One customer says it wants only this view. Another customer says it wants only this view. Another customer requirements only this for this view. So according to the customer, there are different types of views also, and different types of models are resulted when we are taking into account the different types of abstraction or the different types of views. So there are 9 diagrams. Already I have told you there are 9 diagrams for UML. So you have to go through these all 9 diagrams. The important diagrams which are in the syllabus, we will cover only those. So just go through this diagram, very important diagram. You go through, I will stop here for 1 minute. I will stop here for 1 minute. You go through this diagram. Some students are again disturbing through the waiting room. So just see this diagram, very important. Here the 5 views are given: structural view, behavior view, users view, implementation view, the environmental view, and different diagrams which supports particular view is: first view is the users view. It is supported by use case diagrams. Second is the structural, which is supported with the help of class diagram and object diagram. Then is the behavior view, which is supported with the sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, state chart diagram, and activity diagram. So from here we will be doing sequence diagram and the activity diagram. In a structural view, we will be doing both the diagrams. In a user view, that is the use case that we will be doing, and there is the component diagram and the deployment. We will not be taking these 2 diagrams into account. So the question is, for the development, no, all the views are not required. This we have already discussed earlier also. Use case models, the case or use case diagram. So let us go through use cases. So students, I will, yes ma'am, you come here. So consist use case model, it consists of different types of use cases, because a same you can say system have different types of use cases, because we have different types of users. So all the users does not have use the system in the same manner. or different users use the same system in a different manner. So therefore, we have different types of use cases or different types of use case diagrams, because the same system is used by different types of users in a different manner. Suppose your college is one of the system. So in the management point of view, management is also, like chairman sir, is also a user of this system. So he uses this system in a different manner. Principal uses this system in a different manner. Teacher uses this system in a different manner. Students uses this system in a different manner. Office people are using this system as a different manner. But overall, logical goal of all are the same, that we have to provide the quality education to the student. Though we are using in a different manner, but the overall goal is the same. So therefore, we have a different types of use case models. Yes, madam, next. So different ways in which a system can be used by the users. It corresponds to the high level requirements, and it defines external behavior without revealing the internal structure of a system. Means it is an abstraction where only the behavior, external behavior of the system is revealed to the user through the use case diagram. Internal structure is not revealed in a use case diagram. So set of related scenarios tied together by a common goal. That what I was saying. The goal is the common, but all are using in a different manner. Next. Normally use cases are independent of each other, and implicit dependency means internal dependency may exist. Like example, there is a library automation system. One renew book system is another. Reserve a book system is another. But when any person come for renewing a book, we have to implicitly see whether the requested book is already being reserved or not. Though these two are the different system, renew book and the reserve book. But if somebody comes us to renew the book, we have to see if it is already reserved or not. Next. Examples of use cases, there is the one system, library information system. So there are different types of users using this system. Like some are issuing the book, another is querying the book, some has come for return of book, then create member, add a book, etc. Now adding a new book is done by the librarian. It has to be done by the librarian. Next. So representation of use cases, it is represented by use case diagram. A use case is represented by ellipse. So this you can go yourself. It is a cramming. How to represent a use case? Ellipse is used. Then the system boundary, because suppose librarian is there. If we go to the bank, so we are the client, and the bank person or teller is another user. So we have a boundary in between us. So that is known as the system boundary. It is represented by a rectangle. Users are represented by stick person icons, that is the actor icon. Communication relationship between the actor and users case, the communication relationship between the actors and the use case, it is denoted by a line, and external system by a stereotype. We will see what are the different types of stereotype. So just a simple example of a tic-tac-toe model game, what we have done. So it is a use case there. There is a one player which is known as actor. See the symbol of the player. So this is the symbol of the player here. It is the actor. Then the boundary of the external boundary is represented by this. Then main move by the ellipse, that is the use case. That is the play move is there. So this is through the ellipse, the interaction through the line. And what this system is, it is a tic-tac-toe game. So just see here, it is the abstraction. We are implemented the abstraction. Only the external view has been shown. What is internal in the system, it is not shown in this diagram. Next. Factoring use cases. Very important thing. There are two reasons, main reasons for factoring the use cases. Means complex use cases need to be factored into the simpler use cases. That is known as the factoring. So there are three different ways to factor a use case. One is the generalization, second is the includes, and third is the extends. Let us see one by one. Next. So factoring use cases through the generalization. Just I will show you this. So one person have to pay. So one is paying through credit card. Pay through credit card. Another is paying through, what example is their library pay card. Third may be paying through cash also. This is not shown in a diagram. Can be happen. So what they are doing? So the generalization is there. The generalization is all are paying library fee. So this is the concept of generalization. You can also have a different example here, like automobiles. So one of the automobiles may be two-wheelers, then three-wheelers, then four-wheelers, but they all become to generalized category is the automobiles. Same is the example, there can be male, there can be the female, but they all belong to the one category, that is the human. So it is a generalization. Male and female can be generalized as a human. Next. Next. Second is having the include, means a aggregation type of relationship, or the thing which we have already done. So we can factor a use case with the help of first was the generalization, and second is the include function, that is being a member. So suppose there is a base use case is there, and it includes the common use case. And what relationship is there? Includes, that is the composition. That is the composition, and arrow is there. So if something is including something in it, if one function or is including another function in it, then suppose we have to issue, there is a function or a method that is known as issue book. So it will obviously include search book. If we have to delete something, we have already made the project in OOPS. So delete module is there. So if you enter that we have to delete the book with exception number this and this, then first we have to already see the search. First we have to search. The search module is included automatically, though it is different than delete. But when we run the delete, it is automatically included in that. So that type of use cases means it is including this itself. If we want to add, then there is no need to search. No need to call the search. So this is type of use case where we factor using the include function or the include. Then is the extends. We have to extend it to the new features. We have to extend it to the new features from new functions or some new data. So there is a base use class. Also, it is just a simple diagrams. I will show you with the proper example in the next slide. And here the property is extends is not the include. Some new features have been extended, some new thing has been added. Just see an example. So this is external users are there, which is shown. So it can have a hierarchical organization also, that under one use case there is another. Like just see in use case 3, there is 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. So it can have subsystems also. That is the hierarchical organization of the use cases. Let's see in an example. I'm going to show you with the full diagram in an example. Yes, madam. Next, packaging. So means you can prepare a package like this. Accounts. Account is one major use case where we can query a balance, then we can print a balance sheet. So query balance is another use case. Print balance sheet is another. Receive grant is another. Make payment is another. As in a library information system, we can create a member. We can issue a book. We can pay the fine. So fine is another. We can add new books in a library. We can delete the old obsolete books from the library which is not in the proper shape. So we can obsolete them. So a library is also a type of packaging, library information system, which contains different types of use cases. Next. Next is the class diagram that I have already done. So class diagram, in the beginning we have done the class diagram. So it is a type of diagram where the class name is given, then the data of a class, it is mentioned in this block, and then the methods of a class. So this is the class diagram. So main constituents, we also through this different methods and this and different objects and instances, we can have a different types of relationship in a class, that is the generalization, aggregation, association, and dependencies. This I have already discussed earlier, different types of relationships. So I will not repeat it again here. Next. So what is class diagram? What is class? I will not repeat. These are entities with the common features, attributes, and the operations through methods. Next. Just see the example of the class diagram here, library member. So here's the data of that particular member. Then what are the different methods are there? There are different methods in a class. So our same class can have different class diagrams. You can represent with the help of different types of class diagram. So Ashish, please follow me. Let me see. Yes, Anish. Is this a time? Yes. So your screen time is already less. If I have allowed you, then also it is not going to benefit because your time is less now. So in records, your time will be very less. And Sujan Khadka is there. Why you are raising hand? Yes, Sujan.
Sir,
Sujan,
there
can you
is
go to the
problem in
want
electricity
to
in
ask something?
Kathmandu, sir. Sir, there is problem in electricity in Kathmandu, so our Wi-Fi is going off and on. So we are
So,
trying to
Sujan, you
connect.
can take away whatever things you can take away from this lecture, and you can call me other time also if you have any problem. And I
Same
will
problem
also
with
send this
Anish, sir.
PPT. I have already sent this PPT and PDF of today's lecture on your ERP portal.
Okay,
So
sir.
if still you
That's
have
okay,
any
sir.
doubt, you can call me other time also.
No, sir.
So
That's why we
whatever
are
we can do.
reconnecting time to time.
If we are telling of a particular member, if we are talking about the particular member or instance of a class, then it is the object diagram. If we are saying the general thing about class name, writing the suppose class name is student, and different data is the student name, student roll number, student class, student date of birth, then display student, add student. These are the methods. Then it will be the class diagram. If we are talking about the particular student, like student Sujan itself, name of the Sujan, address of the Sujan, then it is known as the object diagram. Leave it. Those who are waiting, let them. Next, click on a with the mouse. Now use the arrow. Then the interaction diagram. Interaction diagram is how the objects in a model what we have generated. So models, how groups of objects collaborate, how they interact with each other. So there are the two diagrams of the interaction. We will be doing those diagrams. Typically, each interaction diagram realizes behavior of a single use case. It depicts the behavior of a single use case. So overall package can have many use cases. I was already told a system can have many use cases because a system have different types of users. So each user is using the system in a different manner. So therefore, it results in different types of use cases or use case diagrams. Next. So how they interact? There are two types of interaction diagram, sequence and collaboration. We will be doing the sequence diagram. Next. So it shows the interaction among the objects. So objects are shown as boxes in this diagram at the top. I will show you the sequence diagram. I will give you the example of two systems where I will draw the different class diagram, object diagram, sequence diagram, activity diagram have been shown. So use case diagram was also shown. So I will show you the two examples today, and we will make all the diagrams which is in the syllabus for those two examples. So if object create during execution then shown at appropriate place, means it may be required that object is invoked later in a system. So objects existence are shown as dashed line in a diagram. I will mark this thing that just see the existence of object is shown in a dashed line, and activeness in object is shown as the rectangle on a light line. Next one. So messages are shown as arrows. So these are some of the features you have to remember while drawing the diagram. There are two types of control information. One is conditional and second is iteration. Iteration means repeat, repetition. Condition means on the basis of some condition, if condition, if else condition. Next. As an example of sequence diagram, just see. So there is the boundary, library boundary. Objects are shown up in the upside, in the topmost. Then the library book, renewal controller, library book register, then book, then member. These are different types of objects in a library information system. So there are the vertical rectangles where it's shown which member, which object is active when. So this is the rectangular shape I will just be showing here. Like this thing. And this is what arrow it was saying, and the object is there invoked. So this is the arrow. So if somebody is there for it, and arrows are also shown between these, the sequence, what is the sequence of interaction between the different objects. The objects are shown at the top. Just see in a diagram with the yellow marked, yellow boxes are there. So these are the different instances, different objects. So how the sequence, how they interact with each other in a library information system. And here the main thing, what we are showing the use case of the renew book. How to renew a book. So how to depict all the sequence actions which will take between the different objects is shown in this diagram. And this arrow helps you that from where the communication is being done. So it is in this side, then this object is called in this. Find the member, because we have to renew, then we have to see which member is borrowed. The library member who have borrowed that book. So see the arrow is pointing to the library member. Okay. Then if you want to select some book, you can also select new books, book selected. Then we have to see the selected books are reserved or not. If any person comes to the library, he wants some books, we have to see, he requests for the some books. Then we have to see that these books are reserved for teacher or something else. If that book is already reserved, then we have to apologize that you cannot be issued this type of book, and that is given to the library boundary is there. So the member is on the other side of the boundary. Otherwise, we will update. If the book has there, we will issue them. If it is not reserved, and we will update the library book register also, and we will also the book details will be entered in the register. Then we will confirm him that yes, it can be issued or not. So there is the customer or the member of a library came for borrowing a book in a library. So this was the sequence diagram of a particular use case, and the use case was the borrowing. Next. Now the activity diagram. What are the different types of activities which are carried out within a system for one use case? So it represents processing activity, may not correspond to the methods, but all the different hidden activities inside in the system. So those are represented in there. So what are the state with an internal action also? And what are the outgoing transitions? So somewhat it is related to the flow chart, that which activity will be done first, then next, then next. Sequence diagram shows the interaction, which different objects are interacted, but activity diagram, which activity is being carried and in which manner. So here the sequence of activities, and in sequence diagram, it is the interaction between the different objects. Next. So it generally shows what the business process are being modeled out in activity diagram. What are the different processes? What are the different activities that are carried out? It can be used to develop the interaction diagram. So activity diagram, because from the activity we come to know which type of object will be doing that particular activity. Then for each activity, we will spend the object who is performing that activity. Then interaction between the different objects can be made, and we can develop a sequence diagram, that is the interaction diagram. So activity diagram helps you to generate the sequence diagram. Just see the example. So it is the academic section, account section, hostel fees. If any student has come and taken an admission in any college or any institute, so he has to go through perform different activities. He has to first of all go to the academic section and perform activities there. Then the account section where fees have to be deposited. Then hostel section where if he wants to have a hostel, if it's an outsider, then allot hostel, receive fees in a hostel, then allotment of room. Then if the campus is having hospital, then you have to get the entry in a hospital and make a examination, because some institute here, before getting the student, admitting the student, like this time corona is there, so anybody coming to the hostels or the colleges, they have to go to under the medical examination. So they have to carry out this activity also. Then they have to register into the particular department like CSA department, ME department. Then the department will issue the identity card. So this is the activity diagram, what different activities are to be performed. But interaction diagram was what is the interaction between the different objects. So we will see what type of objects are there in academic section, which type of object is there in a account section, which type of hostel members or the hostel warden is there. So hostel warden will become the object in a hostel category activity. So HOD will become an object in a department. Next. So this is the overall process of the unified development process, that is the object oriented analysis and object oriented design. So there is a dashed line in between. Dash line is there. You can go through what is done in an analysis and what is done in a design. As we have already doing the topic, we have done the topic of structured analysis and structured design. So I will not repeat again. Now the same structured analysis and same structured design is carried out here also, but the pivot point is object. So I will not repeat structured analysis and structured design. So here the structured analysis and structured design is to be carried out with the pivot point with the orientation around the object. So therefore, this assay is here known as OA, and that SD is known as OOD. And we have to do to model out these all the things. The diagrams need to put. These diagrams are the UML diagrams. So different diagrams are there. Use case diagrams are there. It also take. We start. We again I say whatever we design. Design is the process, means implementation of all the things which we have mentioned in a SRS document. So input to the analysis of the SRS document. Then we start. We go through the SRS document. We domain the model, and we have to see the what are the interfaces which are required by the user. This user interface thing we will do in a next you can say lecture, how to design the user interface. Then we have to represent different images with the different use case diagrams. Then once this is done, analysis has been done, then designing is start. In the design we say what type of, we have already decided what type of classes and objects are there. So in design we design those type of class diagrams. Then objects we design in objects how they interact. The interaction diagram is there, and then after that we go for the next step, next phase, that is the coding. So this is the whole process, very important slide. So you have to go through this slide also. So what is domain modeling? Means overall we have to see the overall domain. We have to identify what are the different types of objects are there, what is the problem is there, how to capture the different relationship between the different entities or the objects. Then we have to see the boundary objects. Some objects are the boundary objects. They will directly deal with the customer outside. Some are the entity objects, which are the main member of that particular system. Then some of the controller objects. We will see about these in the next slide. Class stereotypes. So in the different previous slide, I told you about the when there are different types of stereotypes used, like boundary objects. Just see the example. See the boundary stereotype. This is the symbol. Then is the control. This is the symbol, and then is the entity, like account. In account office, so cashier. Cashier is the interface. You go to the account office and you pay the fees to the cashier. So cashier is the boundary entity type. Boundary type thing. Then withdrawal. Withdrawal is a process of control where the whole thing is controlled into your account. And entity is the main. Your account is the main entity. So in the previous, please go to the previous slide. So just see here, there are three types of object. One are the boundary objects, then are the entity objects. These are the purpose. Next of object. Valid, like your student information system also. In student information system, so we have to add the student, we have to search the student, we have to sort the student. Next, so controller objects which coordinate all the things. So main accountant, which is present in account section, where the whole record is present. So all the cashier has to report to that particular person. So whatever cash he collects, he submits or deposit that cash to the main controller object, that is the accountant. The main thing is the overall behavior. So interface is only done with the boundary objects, and the internal all the processes is done with the help of the controller objects. So controller object is the main, you can say, object of any system. It coordinates all the activities of your system. Next. So this is the use case realization. So there is a boundary one. So there are more than one. You can say you can pay to the cashier. There are more than one window where where you can, one window is for paying the fees. Another window is for document. You want to have some document. So there is another window. So there are two boundaries shown. One for the documents and another for the cash. And there are different entities, and one person like registrar, he is taking the care of all the things here. There is a account section, so accountant is another entity. Saurabh sir example is another entity. A registrar, Sandeep Kar sir is another entity. Then is the Ashish sir, there is another entity which takes care of the account. And there is a cost, all the objects. Just see the example of tic-tac-toe. So you know about what is tic-tac-toe. So let's just see the diagram. You know about the tic-tac-toe because this example I have in a previous chapter also. The same condition are there. There is a 3 into 3 square. One is to mark cross and another is has to mark circle. If three consecutive is there, then he wins. So that is same thing. Now let's see the diagrams, UML diagrams of the tic-tac-toe. Next. Next. Just see. This is the use case diagram of the tic-tac-toe, which we have already done earlier also. So there is the actor is shown. The same methodology. I have already drawn this diagram earlier also about the tic-tac-toe. So this is the first use case. Any actor is shown here. Then is the external entity. Then is the main use case. There is the play move. Then the line is linked between this. Then the play move is there. And your system name is tic-tac-toe. Next. initial and what are the different types of objects? Boundary object, all that things. So initial domain and the refined domain. Initial domain, originally when the game starts, there is only the go, where you have to mark cross and circles. So this is only the initial domain. So as we start with, then all things move on and we have to redefine a refined domain model where we have to see the play move also, because the move have to taken by the player. So player indirectly interacts with the play move, so it is a boundary. It is a boundary. Then there is a controller, play move controller, means it is if we play this game in a computerized manner. So there we need a controller. So controller will validate your moves. We have to see your move is validated or not. We have to validate this also. Done with the help of play move controller. Controller will see and validate, because move will come here with the boundary and play move controller will take care of this thing, that the move is validated or not. And start playing the game. Next. So this is the sequence diagram. Just see all objects are on the top, like one object from the play move boundary, another from the play move controller, and third is the board itself is an object. So how that comes? There first of all, any player goes with the move. It is shown with the arrow in the front. Then this is the object activities. These are the relations of the objects. So it will accept the move. Then player will validate the move. If it is validated, then it will be implemented on a board just in the upper line with the arrows. If it is the invalid move, then it will tell the player, announce the player about that the move is invalid. Okay. If in the end the game is over, it will tell yes, game is over. So then it will also check the winner and it will also declare who is the winner. So all the announcements are given, and announcements are also done with the help of the play move boundary object, because user is lying at the boundary. The player is interacting with the object of the play move boundary. So this is the simple diagram, sequence diagram of the tic-tac-toe. You may be asked to make a class diagram, object diagram, sequence diagram of tic-tac-toe or any other system. Next. So this is the class diagram, just see. So there are different classes and objects of different classes. One is the board class, then is the play move boundary class, and another is the controller class. And they interact with each other also. There can be a aggregation, association, what type of dependency, any type of relation between these classes. Next. There is another example of supermarket price, where the supermarket is there. You go through this. I will leave it to you, where supermarket needs to develop a software to encourage that more customers should come there. So customer has to apply their residence address, telephone number, driving license. Then each customer is assigned the customer number by the computer. Next, a customer can present his customer number to the staff when he makes any purchase. The value of his purchase is credited into his account against his customer number. At the end of year, there is some prize. What is the prize? The supermarket award surprise gifts to 10 customers who make highest purchases. So here the record register has to be maintained about all the customers and all the purchases that particular customer has made. Next. Also, it awards 22 carat gold coin to every customer whose purchase is more than 10,000. So record has to be there. So one stock type of you can say object should be there. And on the last day every year, after the prize winners list are generated, it reset every year, because it is year by year. So reset has to be Then after the prize winners of particular year are announced. Right? So just see the use case model here. So there are different types of customer. In the previous example, there was only one. That is the player was one player was there. So the just see the different actors in this diagram. There are three actors in this diagram. Just see. So one is the customer, another is the sales clerk who will take care of all the sales by the particular customer. He will make the record of all the sales. Then there is the manager. Manager will pick who is the final. He will make all the announcement and pick the lucky winner. And there is the customer also. Because the prize has to be given only the 10 winners and there can be more than 10. So how to pick? And there is a clerk also who will make the final registration is to be done. So four actors are there in this system. Next, so this is the use case model. For different domain model in the initial sales record has to be put in a sales history. Customer register, it contains all the customer record. So customer register have a which type of association? That is the aggregation. It is a aggregation. So many record of many customers is put into the one customer register. And sales record, many sales of a single customer is put into his in a sale history. So it is having a one-to-many, and it contains sale history is contained. All the sales record is contained in sale history. All the customer record is contained in customer register. So therefore diamond box is there for the composition, aggregation or the containership. Next. This is the refined domain model. So after all the thing has been done, so register customer boundary is there. We have to, in the start, we have only the register. Then we have to implement some persons at the boundary, in the customer, at the sales and the winner boundary also. In the same, in the registered level also, we have to put some sales controller, winner controller and the customer controller. So this is the sequence diagram. So see all the objects are on the top and how these objects interact with each other. I will leave it to you. I have already posted these slides. So you will go through same as what's there in a tic-tac-toe game. So how the objects of different, how different objects interact with each other. It is shown in a sequence diagram. It will take some time to you. You will do the practice 2 to 3 times. Then you will be able to make the class diagram, object diagram, sequence diagram, interaction diagram, and different domains. So it is, you need a practice for this session. So today after my lecture, so you take a rest, proper rest, and in 2 or 3 days, you just go through what I have talked today. Because this was little bit, we have the different types of diagram, in function oriented also, and UML also. So we are dealing with the different types of diagrams. You have to see the what the terminologies are being used, what are the different symbols are being used. Next. So another sequence diagram for registered customer use. Next, one more, and sales use. So there are 3 different types of use cases. So 3 different types of sequence diagram. So as number of use cases for corresponding to each use case, there is a different sequence diagram. So this is all with that today. So hope you have understood. Now I will go with the poll. We have left with the 4 polls of today. So let's go with the poll. Now I will stop sharing. So all be ready for a poll. Let's go. This is the poll. Where the whole lecture go through, just recall, and I have shown you different types of relationships. So just give me the count of relationship. So start polling. So 2 questions are there. So now I have allowed students, those who were waiting, so they can enter. If they can have a poll, then it's good. From next time, I will not allow anybody who are coming late. So still 14 students are left. So I'm going to end the poll. Only 10 seconds. 6 students are still left. If there were 4 relationships between the classes, it was association, aggregation, inheritance, and dependency. And containership relationship, containership is shown by the aggregation or composition. So be ready for the next poll. Dash consider only the aspects which are relevant for a certain purpose in a system, and it neglects other things. So start polling. Go through this poll. Students have voted. We passed. 20. So only 10 seconds left now. Only half you have polled now. Two questions in the poll. Go through this poll. UML diagrams. So two different questions. One is how many number of views are used to capture the typical system, and those views can be represented by how many different UML diagrams. Be fast. Only 10 students have polled up till now, and half the time is over for a poll. Seventeen students left for a polling. Yes, give your response. 10 students left. I will wait for only 10 seconds. Give your response. Be fast. See the result. So answer of the first question was 5, 0.5 views, and the second question was 9. So the last poll of the day. Again, two questions. Yes, start with the poll. The question is not about the interaction. It is not about the interaction between the users. So different ways in which a system can be used by the user is depicted by which type of diagram. And second is dash diagram describes the static structure of a system. So two very simple questions. Just apply your mind here and give your response. Only 17 have given up till now. 24 or 23 students are still left. Be fast. I'm going to close the poll now. It is already 2 minutes. I will wait for last 10 seconds only. 4 students still left. So see the result. The answer for the first question was use case diagram, and for the second question was the class diagram because it is static in nature. So this is all about the today's poll. And students, this is all about the today's lecture about the object oriented design. So we have covered the one phase more, that is the design phase. We have already covered the different phases earlier. There's a feasibility phase, then and the specific requirement. Then we have also done the management portion, where the all the type of PERT charts, Gantt chart, scheduling was there, staffing was there, cost estimation model was there. Then we did with the design, two approaches of the design, then the modularity in a designing, function oriented approach, object oriented approach. So what I will say, we have covered near about 45% of your syllabus. In the next lecture, we will complete with the half of the syllabus and little bit more with the half of the syllabus. And then I will give you the first assignment, and you have to submit the assignment as already discussed in the previous semester also. You have to make your assignment and submit in to me through the WhatsApp group or in the ERP portal. I will tell you all the detail about the submission afterwards. So in the next lecture, I will complete the part 1 and part 2 of your syllabus. So it's good. And again, I don't like that some of the students are still kept in a waiting room. So from the next lecture, please take care. If your time is 10, you have to be there 5 minutes earlier, because mostly I start the meeting 5 years earlier so that all can come in a meeting, that is the class. So I enable the Zoom, this link for the Zoom 5 minutes earlier. So you have to be 5 minutes earlier. There may be some network issues. So your overall screen time, what I said, it should be more than 75% of time. Then only attendance will be marked. If I admit you at the end, then there is no fun. So we have to take care of some. I have allowed up till now the 4th lecture, but what I see when the attendance sheet come out, some students are just having only for 20 minutes, some are only for 15 minutes. This is not good practice, whatever may be the reason. So, and so if lecture somebody, some technical issues there, we have given you, allowed you 75% lectures. You have to be there for us 75% of lecture. We have given you the lecture for 25% of the lecture. So, okay, it's good. We have completed with this chapter also. And let's see in the next lecture, we will complete 50%, and there will be the assignment to you also. Thank you for today.